Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We're here once again with the Empire, gonna be going up against the foul TKings, hence the LUMINARK. We've also got plenty of spearmen and swordsmen in the front line, as is typical. Some flagellants also. We've got a witch hunter, 4 pistoliers, of course, taking some heat already because, of course, against a bone giant. We've got 2 Shabti great bows, Arkan the Black, skeleton warriors in the front line, and then over here in the woods we've got 2 Kemerian war sphinxes along with the necrotech to heal them, and then some carrion as well. For the rest of my build, yeah, the pistoliers. We've also got demigryph knights here with a warrior priest, of course, with banner of eternal flame and attack buffs. And yeah, Balthazar Gelt going to be leading the way, of course, with that heavy pistol core, looking for some sweet Plague of Rust action, synergizing as well with the accusation from the witch hunter. Also gives minus 30 armor, so potentially with these two comboed together you can get both the missile resistance and armor, up to 90 armor torn away from one of these big monsters. Right now we've just got a Plague of Rust, just a standard Plague of Rust here, bringing this Kemerian War Sphinx down to 65. I figured I had the demigryph knights in range. I didn't necessarily need the armor centering too much. We're just mostly going to use the pistols for support at this point. And Arkan has made a huge mistake in not having his Ushabti great bows focus down the LUMINARK immediately. LUMINARK's a very high value target, and against the TKings especially, being that they are weak to fire damage, 25%, and the LUMINARKs of course do fire damage, it's going to be a pretty short life for Arkan if he does not fix that situation. Already though, one of the Kemerian War Sphinx being torn down by the demigryph knights there, and the pistols, just mass pistolier fire. You can see the restore being used to try and keep some of its HP up from the necrotech, but it's still going to be rough. Arkan just barely hanging on at this point, realizing that he is in a bit of trouble, going to start throwing down some spells. He does throw a really nice purple sun here shortly before he expires. It's going to just wreck through these state troops, but unfortunately he just crumbles to dust here as the LUMINARK is just too much for him. The LUMINARK's then going to start focusing on the Bone Giant. The Bone Giant had been trying to hit the LUMINARK, but honestly, Bone Giants aren't really that great against single entity targets. They're much better against cavalry and infantry. Even though they do have an anti-large bonus technically, they're just not really accurate enough. The missiles don't move fast enough to really reliably hit single model entities, but a nice Searing Doom dropping down on those skeletons there, and it is going to be a relatively quick one. Don't worry guys, I've got a second replay for you, but not too often I get to use the LUMINARK these days, so I figured you guys would want to see Arkan get absolutely lit up. And it's also pretty satisfying for me to use these armor sundering effects and mass pistoliers, and of course the Faith Demis and everything. Just a nice fun thematic build. And so even though it was a little bit one-sided, I figured you guys would want the cinematics of it. And also I've got another fun cinematic type battle to show you, and I figured it would make a good pairing with this. Yeah, that LUMINARK can be absolutely brutal. That being said, my opponent definitely had the tools to deal with it. The Ushabti great bows are accurate enough and do enough damage that they would need to push forward. Their range is a bit shorter, but they could push forward and start to take out the LUMINARK. Once they do, I mean, that's a pretty high value target taken down for me. They can then turn their attention over to the demigryph knights as well. Arkan with Spirit Leech. Spirit Leech is actually pretty good for going after demigryph knights because of their low model count, so he could have potentially gotten some good value there. My opponent definitely had all the tools he needed to win. Just, I think, because I was able to discover his sphinxes over here with all, with the demigryph knights and everything, kind of stressed out his micro, ended up forgetting about Arkan for just a moment there, which definitely happens. But yeah, at this point the Plague of Rust going to be dropped on the Ushabti great bows here. Demigryph knights just cleaning up that last bone giant, and it's going to be a game. So a nice quick victory for the Empire. And yeah, just going to fast forward through the rest, as it is pretty much just more of the same. Pistoliers coming up, trying to unload on these Ushabti great bows before they crumble to dust. So let's just go ahead and go straight to the second replay here. If there it is. Yep. So this time we're going to be taking the Vampire Coast up against the Lizardmen. We are on the Void of Hell Fen, so plenty of aquatics on both sides. You can see the skinks and zombies, of course, both being aquatic, and so we're definitely going to have some fun in the shallow water here. For my build, I do have Lore of Deeps, as is typical for me these days, not rolling with the healing. Instead, we've just got a ton of zombies here, polearms and deckhands, 2 gunnery wights, as well as the Gallows Giant, and of course the Black Spot as well. For my opponent, as mentioned, tons of skinks. He's even got a red crest leading the way up in the air, skink priest lore of heavens, and some pterodon riders as well. So you can see right off the bat we're going to be focusing on those pterodon riders with the guns that I do have. I'm a little bit worried just because I don't have that much volume of fire. It's mostly the single entity guns, but actually the gunnery wights do really nice damage. You can see they've already picked off one of these pterodon riders, and so I'm not too worried about it anymore. I was a little bit curious to see how the gunnery wights would do actually firing at the pterodon riders, but the flamethrower, of course, can shoot up into the air. It's a little bit janky to do so, but if it does make contact, it will do a ton of missile damage. So you can see that was actually did hit quite right at the end there. So it's going to be a bit rough for the Lizardmen. They're going to have to advance here. They do have plenty of numbers, but you can see here I'm just kind of keeping my line static for the time being. And we're just going to allow the Necrofex kind of fire in here, the zombies to take plenty of hits. Not really too worried about it at this point. The Lamprey's Revenge here in the front line can help hold things down, at least for some time. But here comes the main point of the replay. Of course, with this beautiful line formed right here, how could I not? I've got it in my pocket, and this is going to be probably the best Van Geist that I've ever gotten. Total War Warhammer 2 just absolutely rips apart the entire Lizardmen line, and unfortunately he literally had just dived in those Cold One Riders as well to take the brunt of that also. So yeah, let's go ahead and check in with the Admiral. 325 kills on that Van Geist there, so needless to say, pretty impressive, and that is going to be just an absolute dagger immediately to the Lizardmen. A lot of friendly fire, quite literally fire there, but yeah, at this point, Fog of the Damned going to be used over on this side just to help the Black Spot with their anti-large AP roll, fight off some of these Cold One Riders and more, but at this point, it's pretty much decided. That Van Geist was absolutely backbreaking. You can see several units just shattering outright. That leaves the Gunnery Wight and the Admiral with her pistol to just focus down the air characters here, and they are going to be at pretty big risk, of course, the Gunnery Wights, and even the Lamprey's Revenge doing really good missile damage. I really like the Pistol Admiral because of this particular hybrid role, especially with double gunnery wights. Just having the 3 missile characters able to all fire with armor-piercing missiles, do a pretty good amount of missile damage, means that you can fend off, you know, a lot of lighter characters, especially stuff like this that can potentially be an issue. I mean, the small, I guess, horse and Pegasus-sized mounts can sometimes be an issue for Vampire Coast, so it helps when you crump your entire opponent's front line with a giant Van Geist. But yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully you guys don't hate me too much for this, but I mean, I get these replays sometimes, and I don't cast most of them unless there's something particularly beautifully cinematic that I think you guys would enjoy. And I've been trying to be better about it recently. I also have been just able to play a lot more over this summer because I've kind of got my workflow figured out with my day job. It's just been I've been able to get in a lot more games personally, so that's why you guys haven't seen quite so many community casts over the past month or so. I'm going to be looking to put up a few here in the next couple weeks, but yeah, you can see here the Pterodon Riders at this point are pretty much what's holding this together. Everything else is very, very low at this point, but Gunny and the 2 Gunnies, I should say, and the Admiral just all going to focus here, and you can see how quickly those Pterodon Riders start to drop with all that fire. A few Black Spot that remaining also helping out a little bit. There are very few remaining. They've definitely taken some damage, but Lizardmen going to go ahead and shatter there, and that will be it. So yeah, end of the day, 328 kills for that Admiral. Just absolutely ridiculous Van Geist. I mean, I've only ever had a handful of wind spells get that many kills. And so yeah, apologies to my opponent, but you know, it had to happen. He set it up for me. And then just to top things off, we got 112 kills on the Gallows Giant. Honestly, I know a lot of people are not fans of the Vampire Coast, but I like certain things about them. Certainly, Van Geist's Revenge is an awesome spell, just in terms of its visuals. It's probably visually the best spell in the game, and it also is pretty impactful, as you guys saw there. The same thing with the Gallows Giant. Super cinematic. I love the look and feel of the unit, and it just so happens that it's really, really good right now. And because people tend to take sort of the mass infantry builds against the Vampire Coast, that's still sort of the way most factions have to deal with them. The Necrofex, the Regiment of Renown Necrofex here, the Gallows Giant, it's just great for clearing out lots and lots of chaff. You know, the leadership effect plus the terror and just the massive area of effect damage can really, really do work against builds like this, as you guys saw here. So hopefully you enjoyed this super quick double podcast. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.